everybody, welcome back to my channel. Oh my god, today's video is gonna be super special. So you can tell from the title that I have a huge announcement. Towards the end you will find out what agency I ended up signing with. You guys can skip ahead to just find that out, but I think the most important part of this video is actually from here to then. And the reason being is because this video is not just about my story, but it's about the entire climb. It's about where I began and where I am now. It's about everything really in between: success, failure, lessons learned, rejection, everything in between. And it's also pretty beneficial. I hope it's also inspirational, but beneficial in a sense where I will talk about how I applied to agencies, rejections I had to deal with, and why I left my previous agency, and a bunch of little details in between. So I hope you guys stay tuned to the end, and I hope you enjoy, and I can't wait for this new chapter. So with that being said, let's start. But if you guys didn't watch my previous video, it is how I started modeling and tips. That video introduces how I actually started modeling. I started in Jordan. I was only 15 years old, and I was kind of brought into the industry when I didn't really want to model. I didn't know what it was, and then I managed to fall in love with it. So I did it there for like 2 years, I think. I'll put some pictures and videos up here. So yeah, and then that's where I found my passion for it, and I truly loved it and enjoyed it. And then when I moved to New York, I wanted to continue that dream. I wanted to continue modeling, but I had no one. I had no one on the inside. I had nobody to guide me, nobody to tell me what a legitimate modeling agency is. Then I got found on Instagram. I signed with a modeling agency called Click Model Management. Amazing agency. I had a great 3 years with them. So that's what I did. But one thing that kind of towards the end I started to think about, towards the end of my contract, I started to think about if there was more out there for me. And I started to think, you know, this agency, like for me, I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna film you guys an open call, like what to expect when you go into an open call, because I had a lot of questions about that. But then I realized I've never even been to an open call, so like how can I film that? That's the thing though. Click found me and we had a great bond, and I ended up signing a contract, and I never actually looked for other agencies. I never applied. I never sent in an application. I never went into an open call. So I never did any of that stuff that usually people do to get into an agency, which is great. I'm like thankful for that I got so lucky, but I never got that chance. So I always wondered if there was more out there, if there was more possibilities. I was doing a study abroad in Florence, and I went to Paris for a little trip, and I went to watch Moulin Rouge. And I met this lady at the end of Moulin Rouge who actually kept looking over at the beginning. And I was thinking, it's like, oh my god, I don't know why this lady's looking at me. Like, what's wrong? But she was so friendly. We just chatted throughout. And then at the end, she introduced herself, told me that she was a model scout. And I was like, oh my god, she's a model scout. That's so cool. Because I've always heard about stories about model scouts and models, guys and girls getting scouted like outside of the country, on the street, like in a shopping store and all that stuff. So it's very cool to meet her. She was very nice, and we are still friends. We literally became friends until this day and time. I'm gonna put her company's agency's name over here. So yeah, she's fantastic. And so I had told her, I was like, oh yeah, I am signed with an agency, but you know, my contract's coming to an end, and I'm just thinking about my options and what I want to do. So we got each other's numbers. Nothing really happened within that, but I started to think on my own, and I was like, you know what, like this is my chance. And things that there was a huge fear and a huge risk in everything that I was gonna do about leaving Click, because I was like, I doubted myself, and I don't know the industry as well as I thought I did. And then it's just more about, I was like, what if no agency wants me? Like, what if I don't get signed? What if this is the end of modeling for me? Like, what if this is like the whole deal? I've had my run and I never get to do it again after leaving Click. Like, if no agency decides to sign with me. And that was, I think, my biggest fear of all, is that I won't get to do what I really love again. I think that something like it would have eaten me inside, just staying in the same position that I'm in and not taking that risk. I would have rather known that there aren't no other agencies or opportunities out there for me, and stayed in what I had and thought about the what if. I think that what if is and I think this comes to you in every other situation. So even if you're not thinking about modeling, I think that I risk could always be beneficial and could teach you a lot, and etc. After I decided to leave, I was like, oh my god, I have to start applying to agencies because I need a job when I get back. And I sent out 6 applications. Now keep in mind, I thought, whoa, I applied to 6 agencies, that is so much. That was not a lot whatsoever. And I thought it was enough. I heard back from 3 of them. So 2 of them, they set up meetings with me. 1 of them said no, and I never heard back from the others. So I came back to New York and I went down to both those meetings. The first agency was super excited to have me, and they were saying really good things and about plans they had for me, and I was very excited, and I heard them talking about me too, and it was all positive stuff. So their vibe and their atmosphere, I was like, okay, I love this agency, I want to sign with them. The most important thing about signing with an agency is they have to be so excited about you. Like, they have to look at you and be like, oh my god, she's the next big thing. So they have to see you that way so that they can give you their all, so that they can really push for you in a sense. And I was like, okay, I want to sign this agency, they're so awesome, but let me meet the other one. So I met with the other one, and things went well in there too. But for some very weird reason, so the second agency ended up telling me that I wasn't the right fit for them. But the thing is that what I realized, I thought about this later, when I came into the first agency, I was totally myself. I mean, I was laughing, I was joking, I was all my energy and positivity, and I was just myself. But then with the second meeting I had, I for some reason was nervous. I think that I felt uneasy when I first came into the agency, so I think that threw me off guard, and I just became very nervous, and I was still myself, but I think that my nerves kind of showed. And if your nerves showed, especially if you're trying to model, that's a first like no. And my personality didn't come out the way it did with the first meeting that I had. I think that that's actually one of a big part of the reason why they said no to me. So yeah, just a heads up, be yourself and be relaxed, and what's the worst that can happen. Christmas break came like 2 days later, and the first agency sent over a contract. They told me to look it over, take my time, and ask questions if I needed to, so that's exactly what I did. I took my time, I looked over the contract, and then around a week later, maybe like 8 days or something, I sent over a couple, no, actually like 3 days later after sending the contract, I sent over thank you and that I would look over the contract. And then a week from there, I sent over an email the 2 days before the agency opened, asking them a couple of questions about the contract, and I never heard back. So that's where the story ends. For that, I just never heard back, and that was it. So at that point, I just kind of felt defeated, and I was just tired, and the whole process is very defeating, and it's hard, and it's exactly why I film these videos, so I can help you guys as best as possible. So at this point, I started to think about my life, and I was like, I don't know if I want to model, I don't know if this is right for me, and I thought about it really hard and was really upset, and then I just went to bed, and I was like, let me sleep it over and see how I feel in the morning. So the biggest thing with me is I'm studying interior design, and I was like, I have so many opportunities interior design wise. I have a possible internship, and I have a legitimate 100% paying job that I can work on more full-time while I'm in school, and remove modeling off the side. That was my biggest like contemplation. I was like, should I just do this, or do I really want to continue modeling? Once again, like, modeling, I love it so much. So I thought about it really hard. The next morning I told myself, you know what, I'm gonna apply to a couple more agencies, and whatever happens happens, and this way I've given it my all, and I didn't give up. So I applied that day to 15 agencies, and I got 8 replies back within like 2 hours. The 8 replies that I got back, 7 of them we ended up setting up meetings for the next week, which was fantastic. So I was ready to go on that, and I started my meetings on Monday. I went down and met with 2 agencies. Both agencies were really great atmosphere, great vibe, like really liked me. I really liked them. Your vibe, your atmosphere is so important. Like, they want to meet somebody that is personable. Like, as much as you think your face and your hair and your body and your height is important, your personality is 50%, like just 50% of that 100% as important. That didn't make sense. Your personality is just as important as how your looks are. And they both gave me contracts, which was fantastic. I was so happy with that. So that 8th agency that did reply, I said, but only 7 set up meetings. That 8th agency that same night after meeting with the 2 agencies sent me an email. They said, hey Rowena, can you come up tomorrow morning and meet with us? And I said, okay, great. So that agency was, maybe I should tell you till the end. Let me continue. So I went in to meet that agency and I was going up the elevator. I was like, oh my god, this is a huge agency. And I just like, it's like, oh my god, how am I going up this elevator? What? I was like freaking out. And that day I didn't have like my favorite shoes that gave me height or heels. So I started to think that this is a long elevator ride. Not really, but my thoughts kind of just rambled on. But my shoes weren't like my favorite shoes, so then I started to think, oh my god, like, are my shoes good enough? Like, oh my god, I don't look that tall, like height is so important, and you know, I'm 5'8" almost, and so that just kind of got in my head. And then I was like, you know what, I was like, I literally out of nowhere just stopped myself, and I go, stop, like, to myself, and I was like, you look great, you're nice, be friendly, be kind, be personable. What is the worst that can happen? Who cares? Have fun, be you. And like, it's really what I told myself, and I was like, come on, I got this, like, you got this. The guy comes out, literally makes a comment about my shoes, that he liked them, okay, and those are the shoes that I was freaking out about. Imagine. So ridiculous, like, so ridiculous. Don't let little things get to you like that. It's so stupid. And we make a joke about my shoe. I'm sarcastic, I'm cracking jokes, we bonded over something we had in common, like, we just had a great conversation, and it was fantastic. We sat on like this area. He introduced me to everybody in like that same like group, on the same board, and we just had a great conversation. So one thing I didn't tell you guys, which is gonna be so important to you, go and watch my video that is how to make your own comp cards. I didn't make that video just for fun. I made that because it is going to help you in the application process so much. I'm also going to attach down below the link of this video and also the agencies that I applied for. If you are willing to apply, you'll have that list there, if you do want to apply. And I set up those test shoots. There will be a video coming up straight after this one. It is going to be the test shoots that I set up specifically for the application process. So after I handed him the book and the comp card, he goes to me like, oh, who set up those test shoots for you? And I was like, oh, I did. Like, I set up a bunch of test shoots so I can have new content to show when I come in for agencies. And he literally looks at me, and I remember his face, and I can tell you that he was impressed, at least I think. And so he looks at the book, swipes a couple pictures, like closes the book, so it's my iPad, and then he hands it over to me and he goes, look, Rowena, we are ready to work with you if you are ready to work with us. So to be exact, he said, look, Rowena, Wilhelmina is ready to work with you if you are. So, ta-da! Finale. The agency is Wilhelmina Models, and if you guys know a lot about agencies, they're a very popular agency, very well known. They have a good reputation. I did my research on them, always do research, and they've just always been on my radar, and it's always been a dream come true. Couldn't really believe myself, and actually I think when I told him, I go to him, I was like, this is surreal, and that's exactly what I told him. I go to him, this is surreal, and I looked at him, I was like, thank you so much for this offer. I took the contract to look it over, and when I left the agency, I literally had like tears in my eyes, and I was just like tears of joy. I was like in disbelief almost about where I started and where I am today. I used to do modeling jobs in Jordan for literally 12 hours a day, and I was only 15 years old, 16 years old, and then I would do 12 hours a day for like $70. I didn't care about the money because it was just so great for me. I loved it. Anyways, I'm gonna summarize this video, but I was so happy, and I just want to say my advice to you towards the end of this is believe in yourself. Always. If there is something you really want, you're gonna end up getting it. There's nothing that can come in your way, literally nothing can come in your way. And I also want to say, have people by your side that can always support you. A big thank you to all my friends and my family that have supported me continuously and given me the best advice that they could possibly give me. I love you guys, and you all know exactly who you are. My other advice is everything happens for a reason. Take rejections and lessons in the best way possible. If I did reply to that agency, then I wouldn't have ended up signing with Wilhelmina, and it's just like every single thing happens for a reason. So believe in yourself, trust yourself, believe in the process, trust the process, I mean. Remember to keep climbing up that ladder. You can't get from the bottom of the ladder to the top in a second, so get yourself on the first step of the ladder and start going up step by step, and you will reach your finish line, I hope. And actually there is no finish line. Things will always keep progressing and keep going back and forth, so just do you, and you got this. So that's my entire story. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope I didn't talk your head off. I hope I've inspired you, and if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. I love reading your comments, and actually let me know where you guys are from, like around the world. I'd love to know what people are coming to these videos. Stay tuned for my behind the scenes test shoot that I set up specifically to apply to agencies, and one that Wilhelmina was very impressed with. So yeah, thank you so much, and love and kisses, and thanks for all the continuous support. I'll see you guys in my next video. Remember to subscribe and hit the like button.